Ontario Premier Doug Ford is speaking to reporters at the Premier's meeting in Winnipeg. We will listen in live.
Toronto Star.
How are you?
I was just wondering if you've had a chance to talk to other premiers about your frustrations over delays over infrastructure projects and if they share your frustrations.
Yeah, they do share my frustrations. And again, I have a great relationship with Dominic LeBlanc. I think the world of them, but we have to start moving on it. I know the infrastructure ministers all met out in BC. I think it was a couple of weeks ago, and I'm confident that he'll be able to come to the table. We need to make sure that we continue building the roads and the bridges and other large infrastructure projects, including the transit right across our province. We've seen an increase of over 504,000 people show up to Ontario last year alone, and I always compare it to Texas and Florida. They always say that they're growing faster than any region. That's 1,000 people a day, 365,000 people a year. We are growing faster than any region in North America, so we're in desperate need of infrastructure. And when you have 504,000 people, you need housing for them as well. We have to make sure that we get the shovels in the ground as quickly as possible without any delays with our municipal partners to get housing moving forward.
Do you think the federal government has done enough or done much with regards to the Ring of Fire developments, and what would you like Ottawa to do?
Well, what bothers me about the Ring of Fire, they're duplicating environmental assessments. Our environmental assessments headed up by the First Nations community, Martin Falls and Webequie. Our environmental assessments are second to none. Folks, the world is watching us right now. The world is watching the Ring of Fire. We have critical minerals that will flow down into the electric vehicle program, as we see the electric vehicle revolution happening right here in Ontario. We have to make sure we get those critical minerals out of the ground as quickly as possible, partnering up with our Indigenous communities. We have two great partners there, but there's no reason that what frustrates people is duplication of government. So the federal government has stepped in and said, well, we have to do an environmental assessment on top of your environmental assessment. That's a waste of taxpayers' money. It's a waste of time. We need to get moving on that.
Next question.
Steve Lambert from the Canadian Press. Hi, Premier.
Hi, Steve.
Hi. What was the reason for bringing back the King's Council designations when there have been concerns about the optics of it being patronage? And we're wondering, did you approve the list of who receives a designation? And what do you make of Doug Downey giving one to himself?
Yeah, well, first of all, I didn't approve any list. I didn't see a list. I have confidence in my Attorney General as they're bringing it back, I think in BC, if I'm not mistaken. But I think we have to have a rigorous application process, which we will be doing moving forward. But be very frank, I have so many other more important issues than putting KC behind a bunch of lawyers' names. I want to focus on infrastructure. I got to focus on healthcare, education, and making sure that our economy continues to stay strong. When I talk about our economy, you know, there were 60,000 jobs created right across the country. 56,000 of those 60,000 jobs, 93% were created in Ontario. And I always say what's good for Ontario is good for the entire country, because when the economy is booming in Ontario, there's all sorts of reciprocal jobs across the country, and we're more than happy to lead the charge when it comes to manufacturing, pharmaceutical, electric vehicles, and tech. We have a tremendous tech companies coming here to Ontario. So we're going to focus on the economy and create more jobs.
And on healthcare,
Yes.
there's been talk about what the federal government can do in terms of recruitment
Yes.
overseas, but are there things the provinces should be doing more in terms of avoiding worker burnout, ensuring quality of life, and not heavy workloads?
Yeah, thanks for that question. Great question, by the way. We did have a discussion not too long ago, just probably an hour ago, about the provincial nominee program. We have close to probably 15.5 million people, and the allocation is about 16,500 people. We want to work collaboratively with the federal government to bring skilled workers in, no matter if it's skilled, being a nurse or being an electrician or any skilled trades. We're in desperate need of people right across the province. I think you're hearing that from every single premier. We need more people, and isn't that a great thing? Isn't it a great thing that our economy is still strong, even as we see the interest rates going up? Our GDP is really incredible. In Ontario, we've hit over $1 trillion in GDP. I went personally and looked it up, and we'd be number 18th in the entire world against other countries, and our number one trading partner is the United States. We do approximately $460 billion of two-way trade with the United States. And if we were a standalone country, and by the way, I'd never recommend that, but if we were a standalone country, we'd be the United States' third largest trading partner next to China and Mexico, which they have massive trade deficits. At least our $460 billion is split right down the middle.
Hi, Premier. Jack Howan with the
Hi,
Trillium.
Jack.
Just wondering how your breakfast went this morning with healthcare workers and unions and representatives, and what the main concerns you were hearing from them were.
Well, it was Health Human Resources. I've always come out and said, I think the world of our nurses. We need to bring in more trained, qualified nurses into Ontario. We've had a record year from the College of Nurses. They reported over 15,000 nurses registered in Ontario. We have over 30,000 nurses in the system in our colleges and universities ready to graduate, but we always need more qualified nurses, and we look forward to increasing that. We've increased it by thousands of nurses already. Since we've been in office, 2018, we've hired over 60,000 healthcare professionals, be it 8,000 doctors. We're putting new medical schools in, more grads and undergrad positions. So we're really focused on making sure that we have a strong healthcare system right across our entire country.
Thanks, Premier. And so you're right, according to the CNO, the number of nurses in Ontario is going up.
Yeah.
But the proportion practicing outside of the province or going on leave has increased. Do you think that points to issues around burnout and retention? And what more does the province need to do on retention?
Well, when we see an increase of, the amount of nurses that we've seen, over 15,000, I think it really says a lot about the Learn and Stay program. So we're paying for any nurses' education, any extra costs that they may have, but we can never stop making sure the flow of the nurses or doctors, anyone in the healthcare profession, as our province is growing at an unprecedented amount of people coming in every single year. We need to have a strong healthcare system. We're investing over $50 billion in infrastructure when it comes to hospitals, with 50 new sites. Someone in Ontario, in your region, you're either getting a brand new hospital or you're getting an addition to your hospital. But that is ongoing. We appreciate the 2% increase from the federal government. I appreciate it. I don't agree with it, but I appreciate the 2%. It's not much, but I do appreciate them coming to the table, and we want to continue working with the federal government.
Next question.
Hi, Sébastien Desrosiers for Radio-Canada. Just to follow up first on Bombardier. Yesterday you asked that the subject be brought to the table, and the contract not be given to Boeing without a bidding process.
That's right.
Have you been able to get support from your colleagues?
Well, I guess everyone has their own interest. I know Premier Eby Stephenson, Premier Stephenson as well. They have some Boeing facilities. Well, Ontario, Bombardier is a big player in Ontario. All I'm asking the federal government, don't sole source. Sole source is not good, no matter what you do. I don't care if you're buying pencils or you're buying jets. We want a fair and transparent process. I have all the confidence in the world in Bombardier, and hopefully the federal government will have a fair bidding process and let the best company win. That's what I believe in.
Okay, and since you mentioned the port strike earlier, Danielle Smith from Alberta, she said that if the strike was happening at the Port of Montreal, it would already be over. What do you think about these comments, and what do you think the federal government should do?
I just want the federal government to put an end to this. This is hurting the whole economy right across the country. You're going to be going into stores. Some of the shelves will be empty. I had one company call up, and they have 3 containers of pork sitting there. A small company, but still $700,000. That's a lot. There's so many other products that are sitting on the port right now. We need to get moving. I'm all for supporting the frontline workers, but you can't hold the whole country hostage. We need to get moving. Hopefully they'll get a fair deal for the workers, but also a fair deal for the taxpayers and the consumers here. We need to make sure this strike is over. Work collaboratively together, and let's start getting these goods flowing right across our country. We can't sustain another 1.6 billion that we've lost so far.
Okay, last reporter.
Ashley Burke, CBC News.
Hi, Ashley.
Premier Ford, when it comes to the rising cost of living, what exactly are you and your counterparts going to do to address that?
Yeah, I'm really concerned about that. 8 out of 10 Canadians are concerned about the cost of living. Our government is, I'll give you an example. I'm out here. I always look at the gas prices. They're about $1.60, $1.57, same in Ontario. Just imagine if Ontario, for Ontarians, we never reduced it by 10 cents. I would love to see the federal government reduce their share. Give people a break. We're making sure that we're putting money back into people's pockets, and everything from as simple as cutting tolls, that we eliminated the tolls on a certain area up in Durham. But again, we need to put more money into people's pockets instead of the government's pockets. And I can assure each and every one of you, and I'm sure the listeners will agree, the taxpayer can spend their money a lot wiser than any government. So I believe in making sure that they have more money in their pockets. Another big part of that is rental costs or housing costs. Our goal is to build 1.5 million homes over the next 10 years, and we're going to get it done. We need the collaboration, cooperation with all three levels of government, no matter if it's a municipal or federal or provincial. We need to start building homes, supply and demand, but the cost of the cost of goods are going up fast and furious. We have to make sure that we look at every single avenue in government to reduce the burden of taxes on the backs of the hardworking folks out there.
Janice McGregor, my colleague, was kind enough to cede her follow-up to me.
Yeah.
Just on the affordability issue, the Atlantic Premier is looking for an offset for some of the increases in fuel costs that they're facing now. Premier Smith obviously also kind of on board with that, but we just heard from Premier Eby that he believes in carbon pricing. He believes in market mechanisms, and he was reminding us about the effects of climate change in his province. Where are you on this? Is there going to be a consensus unanimity? Will you be going to the feds with a united ask on offsets, or where is Ontario here?
Yeah, well, first of all, I have a great deal of respect for Premier Eby, and folks, I got to tell you, we have the greatest group of premiers I've ever seen assembled. Premier Stephenson is a true leader. She's leading this meeting as chair, but when it comes to the carbon tax, I'll never agree with that carbon tax. I'll tell you what we're doing to make sure that we're environmentally friendly. In Ontario, we're spending over $30 billion on the largest transit project in North America. We're making sure that we're having two steel plants. It's like taking 2 million cars off the road, going from coal down to electric arc furnaces, be it Dofasco and Algoma. We're just making sure that we're investing in electric vehicles to a tune of billions and billions of dollars. I want to thank the federal government for their partnership, no matter if it's Volkswagen or Stellantis or any other the automakers. And that goes right back to my Ring of Fire comments. We need the critical minerals to build the batteries to go in the electric vehicles, and it's the whole supply chain. So we're doing a tremendous amount to make sure that we're environmentally friendly in Ontario, and we'll continue building electric vehicles. We're one of the leaders now in the world, and when we have 6 of the largest automotive manufacturers right in Ontario, I think we're off to a good start. So we're going to continue getting people out of vehicles into our transit system, and the new vehicles that are coming on board over a certain amount of time will be they'll be in electric vehicles compared to gas vehicles.
Hi, Thomas Laberge for the Canadian Press. Yesterday, Premier Legault said that he was negotiating with the federal government to receive money from the health transfer without any condition. Do you think it's fair that Quebec received that money without condition?
Well, I think the world of Premier Legault, we have an incredible relationship. I'll let him deal with his province, be it Quebec and the federal government. I'm concerned about the province of Ontario, and that's going to be up to Premier Legault. But do we all need more money for healthcare? Absolutely. Do we need more than 2%? Yes, we do. But we're grateful. Well, I'm grateful for anything additional money, but we do have to change the delivery of healthcare system with the cooperation of the Ontario Medical Association, Ontario Hospital Association, and anyone that delivers healthcare to make sure that it's more efficient healthcare system. And I am sold, we still have the greatest docs. We have the greatest nurses anywhere in the world. I'd put our docs and nurses up against anyone and have all the confidence. We all work in cooperation and collaboratively. We will continue leading the world in great healthcare that we provide right here in Canada.
So you don't have any problem that Quebec received that money without condition, even if you accepted those conditions before?
Yeah, something, I can't compare ourselves to every single province or territory. We all get along very well. I'm going to focus on Ontario. I'm going to focus on the new jobs that have come to our country. Like I said, there was over 60,000 jobs. 93% of all those new jobs last month were created in Ontario, and it benefits everyone. Again, when Ontario is strong, the whole country is strong, and we're going to focus on being economic leader around the world and in North America. We're seeing the growth in population here, and there's one reason why 503,000 people came to Ontario, because of the quality of life. They know they can get a job, they can go into any single sector, any region in Ontario, and knock on a door, and a good chance that you'll be hired on the spot. So we're going to continue leading the North American job creation, economic growth, and I always support all our other provinces and territories.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
Okay, thanks.
And we've been listening in live to Ontario Premier Doug Ford speaking to reporters at the Premier's meeting in Winnipeg.